So it's fantastic to meet you here. Obviously, not under the best circumstances. You've sustained a terrible injury in the line of duty. Could you sort of introduce yourself or give as much information as you're comfortable giving about yourself and how you came to be in Ukraine?
It's also fantastic to meet you there, and I don't think that my injury it's dangerous, and I think that 90% person in this hospital just dreaming about to be injured like that, because it's the best option of the amputation. It's the low amputation, so I can be ready after 2-3 months, and I will be even maybe running, even maybe. And so I'm here like 6 months, maybe 7. 6 months I'm in the Ukraine military. I'm in something like Foreign Legion, and I was injured at the few of my combat missions in Kharkiv region. Yeah.
So and you weren't here that long, were you? How many months were you actually in Ukraine before
I
sustaining?
was here 2 or 3 months before I joined the Ukrainian military, because it's also you need sometimes to do an interview, verification and all these documents. I was here 2.5 months before.
And I should explain to the audience why we're not filming your face. This is very much to protect not just your identity, but obviously protect your family, because as we know, Russians are, well, I have a phrase for it, misdemeanor. They're vengeful, they're cruel.
For me, it's not about my safety. It's I know how it works Russian in my country, and how they want to target persons like me, and they target about family of these persons, not even only this person, but they trying to do something with families. And my family still live in Poland, so.
And is there a sense that it's in some ways better to be injured than captured? Because I have a friend in the UK called Sean Penner, who was captured by the Russians and tortured, both physically and mentally. I mean, is that also relief that you don't fall into their hands?
It's really hard to say, because for me, I don't see this, because I'm from Poland, and I think when the Russian captured me, I think it will be really, really horror for me. It will be better to die. But it's very good, for example, if you have American passport, because this is very important target for Russian, and they can transfer this person for some important officer of the Russian. But for me, it will be like better to die, not to be captured by Russia. Really.
And your motivations to come here, I mean, you must have been driven by an intense feeling. I don't know whether it's history or family connections that drove you, or your understanding of the so-called Ruski Mir and what was happening.
I think that everything what you said is true, and everything a part of everything of what you said, because my family have grandfather, he also fighting with Russian, and my family know history very well, and also I was learning. But like you said about Ruski Mir, I was also volunteer at Rzeszów and at Medica, and when the war was start, I saw everything what was done. And in first time I was thinking when the war was starting in 2022, but I have some work in my country. I need to finish this. So in the November last year, I decided that I never go to Ukraine. I'm here.
And we're here with a friend and colleague, Honor, as well, who's going to jump in and ask a couple of questions. But do you feel that you still have a duty to stay here? Do you feel that you have not just passion, but also skills that can continue to assist Ukraine in resisting Russian aggression?
I don't even thinking about come back. I just arrived here a few months ago, so I know I can do a lot of good stuff here, and I know how it works now. So I don't think about coming to Poland. Not now.
And of course, you were in a foreign legion battalion. What's your impression there of the sort of motivations of other people, the nationalities, and the general experience of being amongst a whole range of foreigners who've come here?
You know, it's hard to say because I think everyone here have different situation, different problems in life, and different motivation. But I think there is a lot of wonderful people here from US, UK, Australia, Watford, Nova Zelanda, Colombia, and they have the same motivation in heart. And that's the best in all this.
I've worked with Igor before.
Yeah.
There are lots of people from all over the West and all over the world who have come to stand with Ukraine and help Ukraine. Some have just been volunteers. Some have joined the military. What is your feeling about now, today, considering that everything that's happened in the world with America 2025? How important is it now for people in Poland, people in the West, people in the United States to continue to not just stand with Ukraine, but actually help to fight for victory and to have a just end and victory to this war, especially considering you decided to come knowing that anything could happen?
You know, it's a very good question because we are the first line that we feel it here. But I think that everybody, we all know here that the people and the government and the politics is different because I also have friends from US, and even this person vote for example, for Trump 2 times, and now he feel embarrassed, and he's here, and he really feel embarrassed, and he vote for Trump 2 times, for example, yeah. But we feel it, but you know, we feel confused, but we don't have time to. We can speak about this, we can talk about this, but we have our job to do. We have our small area that we need to do this, and this, and. But yeah, we talk about this. Yeah, you have right, and it's I think it's a subject for longer, like few hours. Yeah, I think.
And do people in the front, especially those who don't necessarily speak English, do they have a sense that there are a lot of countries behind Ukraine, especially I mentioned Britain, especially has a real sense of the moral rightness of this fight, or do they just fight for their own values and perhaps not so aware of the levels of support?
It's hard to say because I think it's not. I don't have a simple and good answer about this because the boys from Colombia are different, and they have different motivation and different everything in head. The boys from Europe are different, and the soldiers from US also. They even travel here all around the world, yeah, to join here. But it's very different. It's not literal.
And you talk about Ukraine being the first line of defense. That kind of implies that if Ukraine falls, and we hope and we think there's not that much chance of that happening now at this point in time, but if it did, what's the second, third line of defense? And do European nations have a sense that they're also potentially on the front line?
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say to me because I'm here and I don't have even time to thinking about this. But sometimes I heard the opinion that, for example, my country will be next, and later I heard the opinion that Putin only want to make a buffer for NATO, only about money. But I don't know. I don't think that's so long.
Anything you can say about the sort of evolution of warfare on the front? Because we see and hear a lot about drone techniques from some ex-British Army guys who were here for a time that I speak to frequently. He said that if you take a period of absence for say 3 months and you'd come back, techniques had already moved on, technology had moved on. Did you get a sense of that evolving arms race?
It's not only sense, it's a really fucking technological war. I was in the first line, I was in the second line, and when you look at up, you see the 4 or 5 drones at one time, and they're just flying one and another, one to there and back. And also artillery working only because the drones give coordinates everything is like collaboration. Now you don't need to make a rozwiedka like sending parcels. Or why? What for? You just send one drone, Mavic. You don't see him, you don't hear it, and you know everything. And you just give coordinate to artillery or mortar or drone FPV. That's how it works. So this war is a very technological war, and every day it's something new, and this war is like fashion. Every day it's something new. Another day it's something new.
Is there a risk of underestimating the ability of Russians to learn and assimilate technology, especially in the West or countries that may not be quite so involved?
I think the level is very, very, very similar. Very similar. And also Russian learned from Ukraine, because Ukraine have very strong drone ship team. There is a team who only make drones. And Russian learn every day. So if the Ukrainian do some few very smart and good and clever mission, next week the Russian do this on our scale. So it's the same Ukrainian also taking the good ideas from Russian. It's like two sides, yeah.
And that suggests a challenge for NATO forces, because if you're not observing this or really taking part, then you're really not up with the technology.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I'm not good about technology. It's not my work here.
We're at the beginning of a new year, 2025.
Yeah.
Things are changing very, very fast. In January, I think there was some positive hope that maybe things get a lot better over here. And 2 months later, it feels like it's maybe getting worse, at least politically. Where do you think your perspective, and I know it's difficult to comment on politics when you're here just because it's a different world over here right now, but where do you think we'll be at the end of 2025? And what do you think needs to be done from the West in this next year, or what can be done and should be done to help put Ukraine in a better position?
It's also very, very hard question for me, because you need to be very good at geopolitical to answer you correctly, because this front line is very, very long. Like you have the Kursk region, you have the Kharkiv region, which this region is stability, yeah. You have Torets, Pokrovsk. So it's different about which region you ask, because today's situation in Torets is horrible, for example, because I have information from my friends, and it's really, really like horror, like even worse in horror. Pokrovsk the same, all this Bakhmut and all over there. In Kharkov it's like stability. It's just like we are on the same position. Russians are in the same position, and we're just shooting like everything. But it's hard to answer. I think they need to give us a lot of F-35, and it will be good.
I have a question for him too. Okay, again. What you can say people in Poland who thinking it's not really war, it's a fake war?
I think it is. I think that only poor people can write something like that in internet, because the Ukraine is so large country. You have a war here, for example. Not here in Kyiv, you don't have war, yeah,
But every day some ballistics and shaheds.
yes, you can see the shahed almost every night,
Yes.
or here, or see the explosion on the air.
Yes, but for you, for me, and people who is here a lot of times, it's normally. But people from Poland thinking it's Kyiv only.
The people in Ukraine are so fucking strong, and they prepared for this after these 3 years. I saw situation in Kharkiv. There was air alarm, and mother take the boy to the ground shelter.
Okay.
And she come back to house, and this boy, I don't know, he have 6-7 years. After 1 minute, he go outside and go to the gym at the open space. 6-7 years, he don't give a fuck. He just go to the gym. So, and I see the shahed explosion here in this area, and old grandma with shops just go and just look. People prepared for this. You have explosion, you have everything. They don't have different life, but In Kharkiv you have war, in Kharkiv you have explosion, here you have sometimes you have explosion, in Lviv you have normal life. And the people go to the drink, go to the restaurants. I don't judge this is
Me
good
too.
or this is bad, but you know the people
Want to live
won't
normally.
feel normally life.
Exactly.
And even in Kharkiv, I heard explosion, and you see, for me, the man from Poland, it was like I was in the shop in Kharkiv. I heard explosion. For me, it was, oh, maybe somebody need help. It was like 200, 300 meters. And people just buying water in a big shop and just look. It's not explode here, so it's okay.
It's okay. It's adaptation.
No, every day they hear the explosion, they see this explosion. It's normal. Like you remember when was COVID in Poland? The first day was empty. Nobody was going on the streets. After 1 week, some people going on the streets. After 1 year, everybody going on the streets. It's the same. It's the fucking same. So if somebody drink 4 zubr beer and sitting on internet and just writing, never been here and don't see and feel explosion in the and writing, I think he has very good life, and it's not my problem. I think it's this person.
There are certain people, like you said, who just live on the internet in the West. They don't really understand the seriousness of things here. And there's almost this sense of inevitability that, well, the war's lasted 3 years, and it's almost as if there's not agency on the part of Ukraine. Can you talk about how important strength, bravery, being an adaptable person, has that, from what I can see, Ukraine is still fighting 3 years later because the Ukrainians have been so strong, because they have fought so hard, because their partners, the Poles, the people in the Baltics, the people from the UK, this is not something that the Russians just got tired, but this is because the Ukrainians stopped them. Can you say anything about strength, about being resilient, what you've seen, how you think that's affected this war?
You know, you need to know that Ukrainians is really, really so much strong persons. Even women, even kids, they different. Like maybe similar like Poland, or it's very, very strong. I can tell you a situation about the place to eat in this hospital. Like when I was here first day and I eat something, the man was here with amputation, like he was amputation of half of all fingers, yeah, and he has a fresh bandage, almost in blood and rope, like it was fresh. It was just after operation, he was wake up and all this blood was going outside, and he was just hungry after the mission, yeah, after sometimes on the trenches, on the position, and he just go to the kitchen, grab the spoon with this hand, and all this blood and rope going outside, and he just started eating, and he just found from me, like he was just smiling, ha ha ha, because he was hungry. For me, it was like abstraction, like, you know, this fresh, everything was open, and but yeah, I think the motivation and morale is very important when you feel that, for example, UK, US, German, Poland, people are with you, even only in word, only in internet. It's very, very important.
I have many Ukrainian friends who are in the Ukrainian military.
Yeah.
And there's something I've heard them say many, many times. And they say that the Russians don't know what they're fighting for. They say many things.
They're fighting for money.
Yes.
Only this.
They also say the Ukrainians, it's very clear in their head why they're fighting. It's their family, it's their children, it's the future of their country. It's whether they'll be able to be here and live as Ukrainians in 50 years. That moral side of it, in the heart, does that give people strength and courage when your life is falling apart, when you know that what you're doing is right?
You know, yeah, because we have in Poland, they are very, very tired about this, like 3 years, yeah. But like you said, they don't have different life. If these young boys and boys in my age stop fighting, it will be like flash. Yeah? They will be here and they will be coming inside this house, and it will be finished. They are very tired. They have enough of this situation, But they don't. Everybody have this. Like everybody know this very very good that we don't have a different life here. And also I feel it. I'm only 7 or 8 months here. I have a lot of new friends, very close friends here. A lot of my new friends was died. They don't. They just disappear. They don't come back after combat mission. But I also feel it that I'm here, and we don't have a different. We don't have different life here. We only have this one way, like do everything to keep it, to finish it. And this is the only one solution. We don't have another solution.
And the last question really comes off of that. Do you feel this is a country that cannot be beaten and will not be beaten by Russia, no matter how things turn out, no matter how long this goes on?
I'm 100% sure that if everything goes really, really bad, Ukraine will have a very, very strong underground army, and it will be really start really different war, and it will be like underground war, and Ukraine will have very, very strong underground army. But I don't think that it will be like that. But it's the worst scenario in my head. But yeah, I'm 100% sure that.
This isn't a question, this is just a statement from me. When my country was fighting for our independence, the United States, many, many times we almost lost. It happened all the time. We almost lost 100 times. But one of the reasons why we were able to be successful was because people came from Europe to help us. The French came, the Dutch came, and I would very likely not have the country I have today because of those people. So in the same way, you are being what the French and the Dutch were to us. You are being that to the Ukrainians. So we don't know what will happen in the future. But in terms of history, you have done you and the people who have come with you from Poland, from all these other countries, you have put yourself in the history books as the people who have helped fight for right. So that's a very, very powerful thing. And I know volunteers, people who come to Ukraine, they leave, they can come and they can go, but a lot of people can't leave. They're here. You are now a part of that story of the people who came to help a good and a righteous cause. So that's a very special thing.
Yeah, but you are also here.
And yeah, last one for me. I mean, do you see this as a global fight for democracy and sort of values we're talking about against rising authoritarianism? I mean, Russia, I don't know if you'd agree, to me at least, is the leader, is the spiritual figurehead of authoritarianism, and they want to propagate that system around the world and impose it on Europe. I don't know, do you have that same sense?
You know, I feel it like every day when I'm going to the city, or it's not often, but when I go into the city or when I go into the restaurant, I feel it that I'm fighting democracy for every kids that I meet on my way. In the restaurant, in shops, everywhere. And everybody know how the Russian propaganda works and what they want to do. And you feel it, yeah, you feel it here at every steps. And the people here are amazing, and they're very grateful for everything. They want to ask you from what country you arrived here. You feel it on every steps, and it's not depends that the person have 15 or 20 or 18 years.
We're absolutely in awe of what you've done, and immensely humbled by it as well, and hugely appreciative that you can take time out from your recuperation to talk to us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It was nice to meet you.